All right, guys. What's up, everybody? My name is Jay Alletto. I'm the owner of PWPNation.com, and this is the first ever PWP Nation Raw review with my good friend, Aaron Ramadanov. What's up, Aaron?
New era start tonight, huh?
I don't know if that was a new era. I don't know what that was. I'm not really feeling the show tonight, but, is what it is, man. This is our first attempt at this, guys. If you've been a fan of what we do on social media or pwpnation.com, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button if you've never been here before. We're going to do this every single week. That's what we plan on doing. But me and Aaron are both major procrastinators. I'm going to say that up front. We're going to do this every single week, though, bro. No doubt.
We got this. It's a new year, new us. We're ready to go.
Yep, a new era of PWP Nation, man.
New era.
I'm going to be bringing the fire to Periscope too, and to Twitter. We got to get this tweeted out as well. Let's see.
Sure.
All right, we'll get this on Twitter in just a moment. And yeah, we're rocking and rolling. All right, bro. Let's kick this shit off, dude. Let's not even wait. We had I wrote down some notes here for the first time in my life. I didn't even take notes in high school, but here we go. Chaotic opening I wrote down for Monday Night Raw. What do you think of the opening, bro? Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley going at it to kick off the show.
This show, I thought it got off to a good start. That it felt different. It felt new. I even tweeted out that, even though it ended in a typical six-man tag match that we usually see anyway, I like that they kind of just went a different direction. We got there a different way. That's all you could really ask for out of a starting segment. And, I felt like it could have been I felt like the match could have been a little shorter maybe, but I even made the point on Twitter as well that, we got to like 8:40 Eastern Standard Time and it was almost 40 minutes past already. And it felt really quick. And then the next hour of the show went by really slowly. So I have really no complaints for the opening segment. I thought everybody in the six-man looked really good. Cena's got to do something about that hair. Get some mousse, something. But he's got a growing bald spot too. Did you see that?
Yeah, dude. He's got it coming in the back. I got it going down in the front. Yeah. But yeah, I feel his
I'm pretty bad
bald
too.
spot. Yeah, you too, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we both got hats on.
Exactly. I feel his pain, bro. And I took note here of Drew McIntyre's promo with Cena. I mean, listen, Drew McIntyre continually steps up his game in the promo area. I think he's getting his point across that he's here to kick ass, take names. He's no bullshit. But, I mean, again, when I watch him bump for Finn Balor like this, and listen, I'm not going to pull the Vince Russo card here and hate on the fact that this gigantic monster of a man, Drew McIntyre, is bumping around for Finn Balor. I'm not going to do that. But there's a part of me that every single time I see it, I'm just like, what is happening right now? This is like a cruiserweight versus a heavyweight. But with that said, Drew McIntyre, I think, stepped up here. And Seth Rollins, of course, was the MVP of this match. And, what happened afterwards, dude, I think was a big deal with how he walked backstage and how you mentioned this. This is kind of different. You had Sasha Banks, you had Bayley talking to Triple H, and Seth goes backstage, just knocks the coffee cup right out of his hand. I thought that was pretty wicked from Rollins, a different side of him, and exactly what Triple H wants.
Yeah, and I think I was in a conversation with somebody on Twitter about this that they kind of felt like the Triple H thing was a little forced the last couple of weeks, kind of came out of nowhere. I think it kind of just adds a little bit to it. It gives that little extra something that Seth Rollins needs right now, especially if he's going to be going up against Brock Lesnar eventually, which we all hope is kind of the plan. It doesn't hurt to get a ringing endorsement from Triple H as well. It doesn't hurt. And I just like it. I think it just adds something to Seth's character. It gives Triple H something to do while he's back. And it added a little something for me that wasn't going to be there before. So I'm not mad about it at all.
Yeah, me either. Seth needed this kind of kick in the ass, bro. He became a little bit, although his matches are always top notch. They're always like 4 or 5 star matches. He's out of control in the ring, but the character development kind of wasn't there towards the tail end of the year. So I'm glad they are kicking it into high gear heading towards the Royal Rumble. And Triple H makes the match the main event of the night. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, Intercontinental Championship. At this point in the show, I'm excited because this made the 6-man tag match mean something. I get a little bummed out when I have a match like this that's awesome, chaotic, hectic, and then nothing comes out of it. There's no stakes, no stipulations, nothing immediately happens. But in this case, they were able to kind of weave a story throughout Raw which is always important to me. When they have a story in the beginning of the show that kind of comes full circle at the end, I enjoy that about Monday Night Raw. So that to me is a plus, and we'll get to the end in a couple minutes. But any final words on this opening segment, bro?
No, I mean, like I said, they got there differently. That's all you can really ask for. I'm just hoping they keep that trend for the rest of the year, kind of getting to these opening matches a little bit differently than usual.
Yeah, fucking A right, man. And guys, if you're watching, please check out our site, pwpnation.com. Insane news updates there lately. Awesome content across the board at pwpnation.com. Next on the show, dude, the heart-wrenching segment for me. Every single time a wrestling personality or wrestler passes away that we grew up with, it's kind of a kick in the ass for each and every one of us. You know, when I saw the news of Mean Gene Okerlund passing away, I was affected by it immediately. Like, it completely put my day in a downward spiral, and I think that was the rest of wrestling fans as well, most of them anyway. Mean Gene Okerlund was the soundtrack to my childhood, man, and this tribute to him was fucking amazing. I am overjoyed. It's no secret that I'm a huge Hulk Hogan fan. A lot of people watching this probably don't know that because they don't know me, but I've been a Hulk Hogan fan my entire life. I love the Hulkster, and his tribute to Mean Gene was awesome, heartfelt, even though it was super controversial.
Right, and that's what I said too. I mean, it's a tough situation, obviously. You know, it seems like WWE is trying to kind of test the waters with this, and obviously with Gene passing away, you know, it kind of gave them, I don't want to say an excuse to use Hogan, but it felt genuine. I mean, a lot of people were saying that he wasn't needed there. You know, I mean, when you think of Gene Okerlund, you kind of think of Hulk Hogan. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. The only other guy I could think of is Ric Flair, who we did not see tonight, which was interesting. He was rumored to be there tonight. But yeah, I mean, I thought the segment was great. It felt genuine. It looked like Hulk was a real person with, I think JCD said it, real person with real emotions. He just came across well. And, you know, regardless of what's happened to him, and, you know, obviously he's a very controversial topic. I don't feel either which way about it, to be honest. If he's there, he's there. If he's not, he's not. It doesn't really anger me or bother me either way. One thing I will say is that you've got to take into account, just because you don't want to see him on the show and you feel a certain way about him doesn't mean that the people like Jay who have grown up with this guy to see him again. And that's okay. I really don't see a problem with it. And the piece on Okerlund was great. I mean, WWE's video team or production team doesn't get enough credit for how great they are at those things. Just as soon as you heard the first strum of that guitar and one of those sappy songs, you knew it was going to be a great video package. So great segment overall. Hogan was great. That little thing at the end there when he was, putting together a fantasy matchup. How can you be mad at that? I don't know how anybody could be upset about that. So
it was all fun, man. It was all fun. It was lighthearted. It paid tribute to Gene. It was emotional. Dude, did you ever hear how Mean Gene got the name Mean Gene?
I'm sure I've heard the story, but you can go ahead.
Okay, so I learned
I don't remember it.
The Conrad Thompson podcast had told me this on both of them, Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff. So I got it in my head. I just want to get it out there, man, in case people didn't know this. So there was an interview in the AWA with Jesse Ventura and Mean Gene. And Jesse Ventura said, I've been out all weekend partying with Tom Petty. Gene, you know who Tom Petty is, right? And Gene goes, he's a NASCAR driver, isn't he? And he goes, don't be mean, Gene. So he's thinking of the NASCAR driver, Richard Petty. And so he says, don't be mean, Gene. And boom, that was it. To the races there, man. Man, we all have memories of Mean Gene Okerlund. So rest in power, Mean Gene Okerlund. I'm excited Hulk Hogan's back. I hope this opens the door for continued success in the WWE. In my opinion, I'm not going to get too much into it because I've been triggered over the past couple days on Twitter about this. But I'm going to just
Let me ask you something.
Right.
One of the biggest things about this segment that I wanted to know was that, obviously WWE, like I said, was testing this and kind of seeing what kind of reaction Hogan was going to get. I want to know from you, what do you think they got from that? And do you think they feel good about him being back? Do you think they're going to use him more because of that reaction? I mean, I definitely heard an underlying of boos, and they were consistent. I think the cheers kind of drowned them out a little bit, but there were some boos in there. And I don't know if Gene Okerlund isn't involved in the next segment, I don't know what kind of reaction he's going to get.
There was a smattering of boos when they first showed him walking backstage. It was a mixed reaction, like a straight up mixed reaction when they showed him walking backstage. So that I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, oh, but all the situations really aligned here with them being in Florida. Hogan's from Florida, he's loved there, that area, overall anyway. And me and Gene Okerlund and just this promo was so good. It was the best promo of the night. Besides for Sasha Banks' line later on, which we'll get to, and Nia's line, but it was the best promo of the night. And in my opinion, though, did WWE see enough? It was your question. Did WWE see enough? I think they did. They're going forward with promoting him in various ways. They have his merchandise back on the WWE Shop website. They're going to start putting it out there on WWE Network full force again soon. I'm sure we'll get a Hulk Hogan collection. They're taking baby steps here. But I think it's the right thing to do. I wouldn't be shocked to see him involved in the Hall of Fame and possibly WrestleMania in some way, shape, or form. So that's my take on it. I think he's going to be back in some capacity soon. But I don't know if it's going to be like a major role in the show. I doubt that. I don't think they should do that. He should just have like the Ric Flair role, the Shawn Michaels role, aside from getting in the ring. That kind of thing. Bring him back to be a referee, a commissioner, GM for the night, whatever you want to do, whatever. You could use Hulk Hogan. There's ways to use Hulk Hogan. Even if you want to fucking capitalize on this and turn him heel again, turn him heel. Have him grow out the beard. Turn him heel. I don't care. Outside the box, man. Do whatever you want with the Hulkster. Dude, next segment. As we kind of stated in the beginning, or we talked about this in the chat. I think this was a real wrestling heavy first hour or so of the show. Next one was a lumberjack match, and basically the Revival losing again, but in a nefarious way, of course. Scott Dawson had his foot under the ropes, but this was a standard match, man. Lumberjack matches don't really get me up. I never really get excited for these things because they're pretty stereotypical. The Lumberjacks really served no purpose in this match at all. At all. They didn't really do anything. They weren't involved in the storyline. They were just a mishmash of guys outside the ring. Nothing screams new era like a fucking lumberjack match, bro.
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing, right? Is the whole idea of a lumberjack match, right? Is granted they're there to kind of contain the action in the ring, but like the lumberjacks are on the outside of the ring. They don't see that Scott Dawson's legs on the rope and the ref keeps counting. I mean, you would think they would at least try to alert the referee, or I don't know. It just was a weird match to have, and the Revival keep losing, and just not a good look for them. Some people I think JCD was saying that he loves the story. I mean, what fucking story are they telling here? That the Revival are just losers and they just lose no matter what happens to Gable and Rude, who granted have become like a respectable tag team, but I don't know why you don't put the titles on the Revival here and kind of just go full force ahead, try to forget everything about 2018, give them the titles, let them have a long, lengthy heel title run going into Mania, maybe against a strong babyface tag team. I don't know. It just the tag team division is so lukewarm right now, and a lot of it has to do with the booking of the Revival. And what are you going to do? I mean, it's just a weird dynamic, and I don't see much of a story. I don't know what JCD's seeing here.
Yeah, they're awesome wrestlers, but they're being used shitty. I think this eventually leads to a tag title win. I don't understand why they didn't do it tonight, man. This show was stacked with talent. They promoted it for a while. They should have just done it tonight, so something cool actually happened on this show.
Right.
There was nothing here really for me, man. There's going to probably be a return match at some point since they got screwed.
Exactly right.
All right, next up, man, we got that stereotypical NXT promo that they've been doing over and over and over again, telling us that Lars Sullivan, Lacey Evans, Tucker Knighton, Otis Dozovic, the Heavy Machinery team, Nikki Cross, and EC3 are coming. It had been announced that on Twitter, I think it was not announced. This is a stupid word to use. It had been leaked on Twitter that I think EC3 and Lacey Evans both made their main roster debuts on Main Event, which nobody will watch. So they're going to be on Main Event. I think EC3 wrestled Kurt Hawkins. And Lacey Evans wrestled Natalia. It's who cares? Next up was Elias. Same old shit from Elias. Listen, I'm an Elias fan. I like him. I'm sure you do too. But there's not much to talk about here. They're both saying, "Oh, they're in the Royal Rumble." Corbin thinks he's going to win the Rumble. We all know
we got a light CM Punk chant.
Was that happening?
That
happening? Whenever that happens, everybody absolutely checks out. Nobody gives a shit. So fucking that's ridiculous. So especially here. Like, why?
Made no sense. And the thing I tweeted about Elias was that, like, this guy has such a great personality, and he he entertains me every time I see him on my screen. But second that bell rings, like Jay, like off the top of your head, Nate, give me one Elias move, like one move in his moveset that you know of right now. I can't think of one, bro. Not one fucking move. And that's really the story about Elias, is that the guy has no charisma in the ring, and that might be his downfall, unfortunately.
Yeah, here's what I saw tonight from Elias. I saw a dive off the fucking top rope. And it wasn't like a dive. It was literally he stood on the top rope and just kind of like put his arms up and fell. That's what he did.
Right.
That was ridiculous. That was fucking I wrote it down here. Ridiculous. This is rehab. This is rehabilitation for Baron Corbin. That's all this is. They need to get him some wins, and a loss to a loss by Elias. Him losing a match isn't going to hurt him right now. His gimmick's over, but he does nothing for me in the ring. He's just a big jacked up strong man that can play guitar. That's it right now. Good gimmick, charisma, but in the ring, he's got nothing going for him. So I concur with you, my friend. Baron Corbin picks up the win. Next up, man, backstage promo with Ambrose. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. I wrote down literally Ambrose promo ? Because he was just making no sense, dude. Did you listen to this?
Dude, I've said about Ambrose the last couple weeks, like I can't think of one redeeming quality he has right now. Can you think of like one thing that you really like, that one thing that Dean Ambrose does that you really like right now?
The only thing about Dean Ambrose that I actually like right now is the fact that he changed his look a little bit. He got a haircut. He
Fair enough.
He looks a little bit different now. He looks more like a wrestler now than he did before. Before he looked like a bum, like he just didn't look like a wrestler for a while. But he looks like a wrestler, but he's not doing anything. Nothing is happening. This is what drives me nuts about WWE. And this is what, I'm not going to say like I prefer Crash TV or Attitude Era or whatever the fuck, or Russo WCW, whatever. I'm not going to say that because I don't prefer that. But what I prefer is something happening. And we don't get much from Ambrose in that respect, man. He had a very lame kind of soft IC title win in a match that was a dud. And now he's got another match with Rollins coming up later, which we'll get to. But yeah, nothing's really going on with Ambrose. We'll talk more about him later on. Moving along here, Strowman, I think, is next. Oof. Yeah. All right. Oof. All right. Let me start on this, bro. Let me start on this one. This was suicide, homicide, genocide. And I'm not talking about Sabu, okay? That's everything that happened to Braun Strowman here. Now, I'm hearing rumors. I don't know if this is true or not. I didn't check. But a couple people tweeted me that the WWE was purposely, and I'm looking at my notes because I just want to make sure I get this right, was purposely stalling for the halftime of the college football championship game. And that is why this went down the way that it did. Now, dude, if this is true, if somebody can confirm this for me, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. This is WWE in fear mode, man. That is fear. That is fear. Oh. That is being scared to not have these potential eyes on the screen when you have Brock Lesnar out there. And he didn't even go out there. Nothing even happened. We didn't even get a pull apart. There was no physicality. Braun Strowman did fucking nothing here. He looked like a buffoon. There were two moments where he literally stared at the camera and was mouthing the words that they were telling him in his earpiece, because he definitely had one in. There's no question in my mind he had an earpiece.
Oh, you think so?
Dude, if he didn't, I feel bad for him.
Right.
Because he either didn't have lines and he was doing this on the fly and that's why Heyman was roasting him, or his lines were fucking horrible and he just forgot them. Either way, it was horrible. We kind of knew I knew what was going to happen here in my head. I didn't predict this out loud, but in my head, I knew that it was just going to be Strowman yelling at Lesnar, "Get these hands."
Right.
That's what we got.
Man, this was like death by TV. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, you put Braun Strowman in a spot where he has no possible way of coming out looking good. I mean, you put him in the ring, and first off, the camera angle where it's like he's looking into the camera, but he's not. He's like looking just above it, like right up here. And it's just weird, and he's got this weird look on his face, and it looked almost like Braun was waiting for Heyman to say something because he kept mouthing the words "come on," and I'm thinking like maybe he's waiting for Paul to say his next line, or he forgot his lines, or or they send him out there and said, hey, just go from the hip. Here are the bullet points we want you to hit, but just do your own thing. And I was thinking about this earlier. Is like we always say how much we want that. We want more of these guys getting free reign to kind of do what they want. This kind of comes with that, and we'll talk about with the Nia thing later. You give these people the free reign, they're going to fail sometimes. And maybe this was one of those instances. Maybe he forgot. But again, you put him in this spot where the camera angle is terrible. He's like looking off into the distance. Then you have him baiting Lesnar where why doesn't he do the thing Seth did? Run in back and go get him. Or when he comes out to the ring, why aren't you going after him? I don't. Yeah. You put him in this spot where he can't win, and you book him into a corner, and that's what's going to happen. And if you look at his crowd reaction tonight compared to his crowd reaction this time last year, or 6 months ago, or 3 months ago, it's dwindled down to almost nothing, and that's really, really disappointing, especially leading into WrestleMania and leading into a show where he's lost to Brock twice, and he's going up against him a third time, and you did nothing on this show to convince me that he's a legitimate threat to him. So just really a loss and a fail on every single level of this segment.
Absolute disaster. Atrocious. Yeah. Fucking horrible.
Really bad.
Yeah. Speaking of fucking horrible, and listen, this is my boy here. This is my boy, so I can't bury him too bad, but the next segment was Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus Apollo Crews and Ember Moon. All right. We're just going to skip. Nothing really happened here. This is just another win, some momentum for Ember Moon and Apollo Crews here. Nothing. You got anything on this? No, right?
No, not really.
Yeah, there's nothing. And next up, bro, we're just continuing this horrible middle of the show. They're not even trying to compete with the college football championship. This is not a new era. This is not anything new. This is fucking awful. This is up there. What happened next was up there with the "This Is Your Life" Bailey stuff that they did a couple years ago. This was terrible. And I'm not saying that a moment of bliss is going to be a failure, because I really like Alexa Bliss. I think she's hot. Right. She's smoking hot, gorgeous. She's a bitch. She's got all this stuff going for her. But this was fucking atrocious. And I think they have Ronda Rousey coming up with their own lines too, because this came off terrible. I don't know what the fuck was going on here.
You hit it. I mean, I don't know what was going on here. It was a lot. It felt like a lot of free reign and just kind of go out there, say what you want, but you just hit these bullet points for us. And again, I go back to the thing where if we want them to get better and we want them to get more of these opportunities where they can say what they want and they're not having something written for them, okay, you take the good with the bad, you move on. But this was a lot of bad and not much good. So Alexa Bliss, oddly, Alexa Bliss keeps being the constant in these segments, which I don't think she did much to really hinder this segment. She was kind of background noise here. And I hope that this show for her kind of takes off, because I think she can be really good in this role. But yeah, just a bad segment overall. Another one.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. I'm with you on Alexa. I'm buying big on Alexa in 2019. I think she's going to become even bigger of a star. And people don't realize this. Like, here's just some stupid shit that I learned from being an eBay reseller. Alexa Bliss merchandise is on fire on eBay and Amazon. Like, people love her stuff. But here's the best part of this segment was Nia Jax saying that she was going to like destroy Sasha Banks with her 300.5 ounce Samoan, whatever the hell she said. I think she should be on her new show called 300.5 ounce live. I don't know what the fuck she said here, dude. I don't know what she said. I'm going to play it again on my phone just to remember exactly. I got this. When I heard it, I had to confirm with you guys what she actually said. Let's listen to it real quick. Let's see if
300.5 ounce Samoan standing right in front of you that could rip your face off.
There we go. 300.5 ounce Samoan standing right in front of you that can rip your face off.
She was just missing the pound. That all she had to say was pound in between 0.5, and she would have been fine.
Does she fucking weigh? She doesn't weigh 300 pounds, does she?
That's what
fucking weigh 300 pounds.
That's what.
There's no way. Dude.
That's what they're billing her as, I believe. That's what they're 300 pounds. Yeah.
Dude, Wikipedia says she's 255, but yeah, build weight 300.5 pounds. Oh God.
Man, I need somebody to go to Wikipedia tonight and change that to 305 ounces, please.
Seriously, bro. Yeah. So anyway, this leads to Sasha Banks said some cool shit. She calls her a bitch. Basically, she says, "What line, bitch?" And it was badass from Sasha Banks to say that because that's kind of like that's good. That was good shit.
Right, and then Nia Jax had to run the word into the ground and say it like 3 more times after that.
Yeah.
She said it like 4 times afterwards.
Yeah, you say this is like the classic comedian thing where like if you're watching a lineup of stand-up comedians, and I just know this, I'm a huge fan, and if each comedian is using the word fuck throughout the entire night, when the headliner comes up and he's got the word fuck to use in his set, it's not going to mean anything because everybody used it moving up to like leading up to him. So just a horrible use of the word bitch here, man. It should have been used one time only. That's it. You're right. Leads to Sasha versus Nia. What a shit show this was. Terrible fucking match. Sasha Banks did everything she could to carry Nia's 300.5 ounces around that ring.
Yeah. Well, she didn't do a great job because she didn't do that. Nia continues to look not great in the ring and not great in the microphone. And I think you tweeted it that she's very close to being dead because the heat has kind of dwindled away where it's not really heat anymore. It's more just I don't really want to see it on my television screen anymore. And there's a distinct difference between go away heat and heat. So she may be in a tough spot come later in the year when she's not being featured as much. I am happy about Sasha Banks getting an opportunity tonight. That was a nice change of pace. I did not see that coming. I hope she gets an opportunity after the Royal Rumble too. So.
Me too. I think she will. I think she'll deliver with Ronda Rousey. They'll meticulously make this match. They're probably already talking about it, getting ready. They've probably been talking about it and setting it up because Sasha Banks, like we know, she steps up to the plate when she needs to put on a great match. But also, my only concern here with Ronda Rousey still being a little bit on the green side of things, even though she stepped up, all her pay-per-view matches have been fantastic. I can safely say that. I think, but there's a real possibility this could be a shit show. There is. There's a possibility this could fall off the rails really quickly, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I think it's definitely possible here.
Yeah, I agree, and Ronda's done a really good job of I don't want to say holding her own, but she's done a good job, and she's really adapted quickly. And I don't know how many people know this, but their match, Natalya and Ronda's match, I think I tweeted or put it in the chat earlier this year, was that Natalya and Ronda match on Raw was 100% called in the ring, which really goes to show how great Natalya is. If we can just give her a quick some quick praise, but it goes to show that Ronda can hang. Yeah, Ronda can hang in there with the match being 100% called in the ring. So that kind of boosts my confidence in her, and I think her and Sasha are going to have a great match. So.
Since you brought up that Natalya Ronda Rousey match, I got to bring up one thing, and I brought this up in our chat too. There was a part in that match, and since this is our show, we can do whatever we want. So there was a part in this match where Natalya yelled to the crowd, "You like Ronda, huh?" She had her in like a chin lock. She's like, "You guys like Ronda," and they're like, "Yeah," and Natty's like, "I do too." She wrenched in the chin lock. She's like, "Ugh." It was the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. It was bad. It was cringeworthy, and I do. I like her. I mean, she's cool. I have no problem with Natty, but that was just so cringeworthy. That was like babyface to the extreme. And man, here we go. The main event of the night, where I thought maybe, just maybe, we'd get a title change here, just because leading up to this, nothing's really happened. Seth Rollins got his match that he's been wanting for the past couple weeks. Triple H gave it to him, said that's the Seth I want to see. But yet here we go, man. I did like the fact that this kind of came full circle from the beginning of the show. I did really enjoy that. But we got Dean Ambrose over Seth Rollins here. Dean Ambrose going over with the assist from Bobby Lashley, beating the trash out of Rollins to kind of end the show here. So listen, this match was fun. Falls count anywhere, full of gimmicks, full of a few cool spots here and there. I would have loved if they would have went outside the building and like went in the streets, like Michael Cole was fucking teasing and Corey Graves was teasing and Renee Young was teasing. They teased all of that. They're like, this match could end up in Disney World. This match could end up here, there, up and down the highway. And where the fuck did it go? It went backstage. It went fucking nowhere. They don't do fun shit like that anymore to kind of take us and put us on a little bit of a journey, catch us off guard. Do something that we haven't seen in a long time. You remember when Al Snow and Bob Holly wrestled in a fucking like lake or something? Like they would go down to like the local bar and kick the shit out of like everybody in there. Just crazy stuff like that used to happen. Now nothing happens. They keep it very, very controlled inside this bubble. So I was literally preparing for this during the end of this match. So I was just listening to what was going on. At this stage of the game, I don't really have to see it. I've seen Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose 1,000 times, but when I got out of it, Rollins almost got the win. Lashley comes out, kicks his ass, and that's that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this was, like you said, I mean, they didn't really do anything different here. I would have liked to have seen them do a little bit something backstage, like have some coordinated spot ready or just something that changes the pace a little bit, isn't your typical any false count anywhere match. And then they go to break in the middle of a false count anywhere match. I still don't understand the logic there. Why not time a break somewhere else? Before that match, I just don't understand that. How do you keep somebody suspenseful during that and then come back and they're just in the crowd all of a sudden, and all the good shit has happened during the break, and it makes you as a fan, as a casual fan who's tuning in tonight. I don't know how great that match came across, and then you get in the ring, and I felt like this match should have been the match they had at TLC almost. It just kind of they kind of flipped them, and. Again, I understand Dean needed to retain tonight because they obviously don't want the title on Seth here, and maybe Seth has bigger and better things coming down the line. But I really felt like he should have came off strong tonight, especially on a show where you didn't really give the fans anything to really grab onto. It was dominated a lot by just a lot of weird segments, and I feel like you should have given the fans something to kind of feel good about. And I think a strong Seth Rollins performance at the end of the night would have been, that thing. And I think he's the hottest guy on the show right now. I think him losing, consistently would be a problem. I hope they don't make it a problem. And again, I hope they have bigger things for him. But he is by far the most over person on this show. So
yeah, easy. And hands down, I think this is the whole thing with Lashley, this little feud they're doing is going to build to the Royal Rumble, and they'll probably be the final two, or they'll have a big spot in the Royal Rumble. They do this. WWE does this all the time when they know who's going to win the Royal Rumble. And I'm pretty certain it's going to be Seth Rollins. I can't see anybody else winning. They try to set them up with some kind of angle. So it culminates at the Rumble inside the match. So there's some kind of heat, something to do within that match. But that's my prediction. It'll probably come down to those two at the end with Rollins winning the Rumble. But hey, let's this was a great show, dude. I had a lot of fun doing this. This is the first time we've done it legit, and I think this is a good kickoff, brother.
Yeah, no, I agree, and hopefully the people watching can stay with us, and we'll obviously get better as the episodes accumulate, and get more consistent with it, and be here every Monday.
Absolutely, bro. I just want to say before we get off the air here, we have 204 votes in our PWP Nation poll on Twitter, and believe it or not, 204 votes is a really good amount of votes on Twitter. Okay, so I always do this every week. How would you grade this episode of Raw? So we got 7% with an A, 42% with a B. That surprises me because I thought the show sucked. 32% with a C, 19% D or worse. I'm giving the show a solid D. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, the show would be a stinky fucking F. But I'm giving it a D, on the verge of almost to a C maybe. But Hulk Hogan, I think he was my saving grace personally.
Yeah, I actually voted on that poll, and I'm at a C. I mean, I think it was a solid. I mean, you had some things that you can take away and kind of feel at least a little bit good about. Again, even though Seth didn't come out on top, he did have a strong performance, and he's still the most over person on the show, so that's a good thing. And some other guys looked good, and for it to be a D for me would have to have no redeeming quality. It has some redeeming quality. Again, the Hogan segment was good, and I think they really sold you a bill of goods here that they did not deliver on. Where were the McMahons tonight?
We saw Triple H. We only saw Triple H.
Right, but the whole thing was about a new era, and these guys were going to be hands-on, and then they were going to be all over the shows. Granted, I'm not begging for that by any means, but it felt like another throwaway show, and I don't think this was the show to treat as a throwaway, in my opinion.
There was nothing new era about this. That's why I gave it a D, because they gave us this build-up that it would be new era, exciting, new talent, new this, new that. Nothing was new here. So, and I'm sick of just waiting to give them a chance. I'm going to start calling them out every single fucking week when they do shit I don't like, because this fucking sucks.
Right.
So that's it, man. That's my cherry on top, bro. Any final words here on our first Raw review, brother?
No. I mean, make sure you go visit pwpnation.com. Like you said earlier, a bunch of great news pieces up there. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow us on Twitter, myself at Alletto, Aaron at Aaron_PWP, and at PWP Nation on Twitter. Guys, thank you so much. We're out of here. Peace.